She had given everything, and yet it felt like nothing was left. Patricia sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the faded photographs of her children pinned to the wall. A wave of nostalgia washed over her, mingled with a deep, gnawing sadness. Her heart broke at the thought of the family she once had, the laughter that filled their modest home, now replaced by a haunting silence. She felt abandoned, alone, and afraid. Hi there. I'm Goldie, and welcome to Goldie's Love Stories. Years ago, she had worked tirelessly in her small city, balancing multiple jobs to ensure her children had a future. Her husband left her for another woman, leaving her to raise their 3 children alone. Each long day spent cleaning homes and cooking for others was fueled by her dream of seeing her children thrive. When they were accepted into prestigious programs abroad, she felt a mix of pride and sorrow. She encouraged them to go, believing it was for their best. They promised to send money home, to take care of her, and to return when they could. Now they were gone pursuing their dreams, and Patricia was left in a small dimly lit room, filled with memories that seemed to taunt her. Danielle, the eldest, had become a doctor in London, where she was constantly busy. "Mom, I'll call you soon," she often texted, but the calls never came. They had become rare, almost non-existent. "Just one more shift, Mom," she would say in her brief replies, leaving Patricia to wonder if Danielle remembered her at all. The distance between them felt insurmountable. Matthew, her son, had traveled to Bali, Indonesia, where he was living the dream of many, teaching yoga on sun-kissed beaches. "Life is so good here, Mom," he would post on social media, his smile radiant and carefree. "I'm busy, but I love it." The words stung like 1,000 tiny needles. She had sent him messages filled with love and concern, but they always felt like whispers in the wind, unheard and unreturned. And then there was Nicole, her youngest, who had moved to Paris, chasing fame as an influencer. "I'm almost at 1 million followers, Mom," she would boast, sharing her glamorous life through carefully curated posts. The pictures looked perfect, every moment a highlight, every meal an event. But behind the filter, Patricia sensed a void, a lack of genuine connection. The last time they spoke, Nicole had been too busy planning her next photo shoot to listen to her mother's worries. "I'll call you back later, Mom," she had said, but the call never came. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Patricia's heart ached for their voices, for the warmth of their presence. She clung to the small gifts they sent home, little pieces of their lives abroad. It was like a lifeline, but as time passed, even that began to dwindle. Why don't they ever come home, she wondered, tears streaming down her cheeks as she sat in her empty kitchen, surrounded by the remnants of a life once full of love. She would look at their photos, her heart heavy with memories of family dinners, laughter, and hugs. Each image felt like a reminder of what she had sacrificed, the dreams she had given up for their futures. Then came the day that changed everything. She went to the doctor for a routine checkup. The doctor sat down beside Patricia, a soft compassion in his eyes. "Patricia," he began gently, "I know you've been feeling more tired lately, struggling with your energy, and maybe even with some swelling or breathlessness. We've run a few tests, and I have some difficult news to share." She looked at him, her heart racing as she braced herself. He took a breath. "You have a condition called congestive heart failure. It means your heart isn't pumping blood as well as it should. The heart muscle has weakened, making it harder for your body to get the oxygen and blood it needs." Seeing the worry cloud her face, he continued, "This isn't like other illnesses where a treatment or surgery can fix it. CHF is chronic, it doesn't go away. It causes fluid to build up, especially in your lungs and legs, making you feel short of breath and tired. Over time, it can become difficult to even walk across a room or get a good night's sleep without feeling out of breath." Patricia felt the weight of his words settle over her, a heavy, unfamiliar reality. "There are treatments," he added, his voice firm but kind, "medications to help your heart work more effectively, and lifestyle changes to manage the symptoms. With the right care, we can make you more comfortable and hopefully keep the symptoms at bay for a good while." Her lips trembled. "Is there no hope for a cure?" The doctor shook his head, a hint of sorrow in his expression. "Not a cure, no. But we can work together to give you the best quality of life possible. You won't be alone in this, Patricia. We'll support you every step of the way." Patricia nodded slowly, trying to absorb the implications. This was a new reality, a condition she would carry forward, a reminder of her limits, but also a call to live as fully as possible with the support she needed. In the days that followed, doubt settled heavily on her, casting shadows over memories once cherished. Had her life, shaped by endless sacrifices and selfless choices, truly been fulfilling? She wondered if the love she poured into her children's lives had left too little for herself. Each decision, made with unwavering devotion, now felt clouded by a lingering ache. The hope that had sustained her for so long began to waver, giving way to a bittersweet longing, a yearning to feel her children's warmth, to know if they'd ever truly understood the depth of her love. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over her home, Patricia made a decision. She would reach out to her children, not just for emotional support but for help. She needed them now more than ever. It was time to break the silence, to tell them the truth about her illness and her fears. With trembling hands, she picked up her phone. It felt heavy, like a weight pressing on her heart. She scrolled through her contacts until she found Danielle's name. Her finger hovered over the call button, and memories flooded back. Danielle as a little girl, always asking questions, always seeking knowledge. She had poured so much love into raising her children, but now, that love felt like a distant memory. She dialed Danielle first, her heart pounding in her chest. "Mom." Danielle's voice crackled through the line, distant and hurried. "Danielle, I'm not doing well. I really need your help. Can you come home?" There was a long pause, and Patricia could hear the faint sounds of a bustling hospital in the background. I'm so busy with my patients, Mom. I promise I'll send money. Just hang in there, okay?" The words were kind, but the tone felt hollow. "It's not about money, Danielle. I need you," she replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "I'll call you back when I can," Danielle said, the line going silent before Patricia could respond. The conversation felt like a knife twisting in her heart. It was clear that her daughter's life had become a whirlwind of responsibility, leaving little room for her mother's needs. Next, she called Matthew, her heart filled with hope. "Matthew, I need you to come home." "I'm really sick," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Mom, I can't. I'm teaching a retreat this week." "It's a big opportunity for me," he replied, his tone lacking the urgency she craved. "I'll send some money. I promise. But I need you, not the money. Just hold on, okay? I'll send something soon." The line went dead before she could respond. The disconnect between them felt like a chasm, widening with every conversation. Finally, she called Nicole. "Nicole, please listen. I'm not well. I'm very sick. I need you here," she pleaded, her voice shaking with desperation. "Mom, I'm super busy with brand collaborations right now. I can't just drop everything," Nicole said dismissively, her voice filled with excitement. "But I'll send you something. I promise." Patricia felt her world shatter further with each conversation. The vague promises felt like empty words tossed into the void, offering no comfort. She hung up the phone, tears streaming down her cheeks, her heart heavy with disappointment. She sank into her chair, feeling the weight of loneliness settle in. The silence of her home echoed her pain, amplifying her sense of abandonment. Days turned into weeks, and the ache of separation deepened. Just when she thought she couldn't bear it any longer, her phone buzzed with a message from Matthew. "Mom, I have great news." A spark of hope flickered within her, maybe he was finally coming home to support her. But her excitement quickly faded as his next message arrived. "I just landed a spot on a new reality show." His news felt self-centered, highlighting the growing distance between them, and her heart sank. Still, she responded with warmth, "That's amazing, Matthew. I'm so proud of you. Just remember to take care of yourself too." Her words carried a bittersweet undertone, a reflection of the widening emotional gap she wished she could bridge. In the quiet of her home, Patricia wondered if she had ever truly known her children. The love she had poured into their upbringing felt overshadowed by their self-absorption. The phone calls had become a cruel reminder of their distance, both emotional and physical. She began to resent the lavish lifestyles they flaunted online, living in worlds she could hardly imagine. A few days later, she logged onto social media to check on her children, hoping to find some connection to their lives. As she scrolled through Nicole's posts, her heart sank further. Pictures of lavish parties, trips to exotic locations, and perfectly staged meals flooded her feed. "I'm at a 5-star resort in Cancun." Nicole had captioned one photo, smiling broadly with friends, her hair blowing in the wind. "Living my best life." The images felt like daggers, each one a reminder of the distance that had grown between them. Patricia's eyes blurred with tears as she swiped through the photos, her heart heavy with betrayal. Did they not understand the gravity of her situation? Did they not care? The realization struck her hard. Her children were more concerned with their own lives than with the woman who had sacrificed everything for them. It felt like a cruel twist of fate. As the days dragged on, Patricia's condition worsened, but the isolation was unbearable. She longed for the warmth of her children's presence, the comfort of their support. In her solitude, doubt began to creep into her mind. Was she ever more than just a means to an end for them? That night, as she lay in bed, she felt an overwhelming sense of despair. The weight of her loneliness felt crushing, pressing down on her chest like an anchor. She closed her eyes, praying for a miracle, for a sign that her children would realize the truth, that they had forgotten her, and she was fading into the shadows of their lives. Desperate for help, she began exploring her options. With a shaky hand, she scrolled through her phone, searching for local clinics and support groups. She found a few places that offered affordable rates, but when she called, the news was disheartening. Each time she inquired, she was met with rejections or worse, exploitative offers disguised as help. "We can provide services, but they come at a premium," one receptionist explained coldly, her voice devoid of empathy. Patricia hung up, her heart sinking further with each call. The obstacles seemed insurmountable, leaving her feeling helpless and lost. Every rejection felt like a confirmation of her worst fears, that no one was there to help her when she needed it the most, not even her children. The thought was a bitter pill to swallow. Hadn't she sacrificed everything for her children? Hadn't she poured her heart into raising them, only to find that they had turned their backs when she needed them most? As the emotional toll mounted, the pain began to feel physical, a weight pressing down on her chest that she couldn't shake. One fateful evening, as the shadows lengthened and the world outside grew quiet, Patricia felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. The room spun, and she stumbled, clutching the edge of the kitchen counter for support. Panic surged through her veins. "No, not now," she whispered to herself, the fear of being alone overwhelming. With great effort, she sat down on the floor, breathing heavily, trying to will the sensation away. But it was too late, her body betrayed her. The next thing she knew, everything went dark. When she regained consciousness, the harsh fluorescent lights of the hospital room pierced through her fog. Panic clawed at her throat as she struggled to sit up, confusion enveloping her. The sterile smell of antiseptic filled her nostrils, a stark contrast to the comfort of her home. "What happened?" she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. A nurse entered the room, her demeanor professional yet kind. "You collapsed at home, ma'am. You're in the hospital now. We're taking care of you." The nurse's words were meant to reassure, but Patricia's heart sank. Alone and frightened, she felt a deep sense of betrayal by her own body. The world outside continued to spin, oblivious to her suffering. As the hours passed, the sounds of the hospital became a strange lullaby, the rhythmic beeping of machines, the shuffling of nurses' feet, and the distant murmurs of other patients. Each noise echoed her isolation. She thought about her children, their lives so distant from hers now, and the promises they had made to take care of her. Patricia couldn't shake the feeling of abandonment that enveloped her like a heavy blanket. Days later, her children finally arrived, guilt and panic etched on their faces. Danielle, the eldest, rushed in first, followed closely by Matthew and Nicole. Their hurried footsteps echoed in the sterile corridor as they entered her room, but the warmth she had hoped for was absent. The sight of their concerned faces brought a flicker of relief, yet it was quickly overshadowed by a torrent of emotions. "Mom!" Danielle exclaimed, her voice trembling as she approached the bed. "We heard you were in the hospital. What happened?" Patricia struggled to find her voice, feeling the weight of their neglect pressing down on her. "I collapsed," she said weakly, fighting back tears. I'm scared." The silence that followed was thick with unspoken words. Matthew looked away, unable to meet her gaze. "I'm sorry we didn't come sooner," he muttered, his tone defensive. Things have been complicated. Complicated? Patricia echoed, her voice gaining strength despite her frailty. You've been living your lives while I've been struggling alone. You promised to take care of me. Nicole shifted uncomfortably, her expression a mix of remorse and annoyance. Mom, you always told us to follow our dreams. We've been doing that. You encouraged us to go. But at what cost? Patricia interrupted, pain slicing through her words. You were supposed to be my support, my family. I sacrificed everything for you. And now I'm alone. The confrontation revealed their conflicting emotions, remorse for neglecting her and frustration over her earlier sacrifices. The weight of Patricia's disappointment bore down on them, forcing them to confront the consequences of their choices. The room felt charged with tension as they all struggled to navigate the uncomfortable truths that had surfaced. Mom, we're here now, Matthew insisted, desperation creeping into his voice. What can we do? Be present, she replied, her heart aching with the truth of her words. Just be here for me. I need you, not money, not excuses. As those words hung in the air, a profound silence enveloped the room. Patricia watched her children's faces shift from anger and frustration to guilt and regret. She had given them everything, and now, as she lay in her hospital bed, frail yet resolute, she needed their presence more than anything else. I'm so sorry, Mom, Nicole said, her voice trembling. I've been so caught up in my own life that I didn't realize how much you needed us. Tears welled in her eyes as she stepped closer to the bed, taking Patricia's hand in hers. Me too, Matthew chimed in, swallowing hard. I thought I was doing well for myself, but it feels empty when I think about you alone here. He paused, taking a deep breath as if steeling himself for what came next. We need to do better. Danielle, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke up, her voice soft but firm. We should hire someone to help you at home, someone who can assist with your needs. I can manage my schedule to come over more often, and I'll make it a priority to be here for you, Mom. Patricia felt a flicker of hope igniting within her chest. You don't have to move back in. I know you all have your lives, but I want to know that I can count on you to be there for me. She felt the weight of her condition lessening with the promise of their commitment. Let's make a plan, Matthew suggested, his determination shining through the lingering sadness. We can coordinate visits, and I'll come in every couple of months. I'll even bring some fun activities for us to do together. I can work out a schedule for us to rotate, Danielle added, feeling a surge of responsibility. I'll take off work when I can to come here. We can make it a family day, like we used to. Nicole wiped her tears, a smile slowly breaking through her sadness. And I'll come back whenever I can too. I want to take you out, maybe we can go shopping like we used to. I've missed our time together. Patricia's heart swelled with affection for her children, grateful for their newfound resolve. I just want to feel connected again. It's hard to accept that I need help, but knowing you'll be there means everything to me. With that, they began to formulate their plans. They discussed the type of caregiver Patricia would need, considering someone who could help with her medications and daily tasks while also being friendly and engaging. The warmth of familial love slowly began to heal the rifts that had developed over the years. Days turned into weeks, and Patricia's health began to stabilize with the help of her doctors and the support of her family. They hired a kind-hearted nurse named Sophia, who quickly became a cherished companion for Patricia. With her bright smile and gentle demeanor, Sophia helped Patricia feel less lonely, engaging her in conversation and encouraging her to take short walks around the hospital. As promised, Matthew and Nicole made their visits a priority, flying in regularly to spend weekends with her. They filled her room with laughter and love, sharing stories about their lives and their latest adventures. Matthew brought his camera, documenting their time together, while Nicole shared the latest fashion trends, insisting on helping Patricia update her wardrobe. Danielle, taking time off work, often cooked her mother's favorite meals and brought them to the hospital. They shared meals in her room, reminiscing about their family dinners back in the city. The simple act of eating together rekindled the bond they once shared, and with each meal, the laughter grew a little louder, the smiles a little brighter. One sunny afternoon, Patricia found herself sitting outside on the hospital patio, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. She breathed deeply, savoring the fresh air and the sounds of her children's laughter nearby. It was a stark contrast to the isolation she had felt just weeks earlier. As she watched them play cards and joke with each other, Patricia realized that the love she had always poured into her children had not been in vain. Their journey together had taken a winding path, filled with detours and obstacles, but they were finally coming home to one another in a way that mattered. "Mom, look," Nicole called out, holding up a winning hand in the card game. "You taught me how to play, remember?" Patricia laughed, feeling a rush of joy. "Of course I remember. But you were always the one with the luck." Matthew chimed in, "I think we just have the best teacher." He winked at her, his eyes sparkling with affection. "You're the heart of this family." Feeling a rush of love, Patricia realized they were rebuilding their connection, brick by brick. It wasn't just about her illness or the care she needed, it was about being present for one another, embracing each moment, and cherishing the bonds that held them together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Patricia felt a deep sense of peace. Her journey was far from over, but now it was one she would not have to face alone. Surrounded by her children, she knew that they would navigate this path together, supporting one another through thick and thin. With a smile on her face, Patricia closed her eyes, soaking in the warmth of their love. She felt alive, connected, and hopeful for the future, a future she would face hand in hand with her beloved children. In that moment, Patricia understood that the greatest legacy she could leave was not merely her sacrifices or the life she had built, but the unbreakable bond of family forged through love, resilience, and the unwavering promise to always be there for one another. Thanks for watching. How would you rate this story? Give it 1 to 5 stars in the comments and let me know what you thought. This is a brand new channel, and your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed the story, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss an episode. Your likes, comments, and shares help this community grow, and I'd be so grateful to have you along for the journey. See you next time.